This video is for you, the digital agency or full-service integrator who wishes to enter or expand your footprint in the content creation and delivery business. We believe our software, Intuiface, is the key to unlocking the door to the opportunity that exists out there for all of us in that world of interactive content. And we believe it so much that we've created a set of partner programs enabling us to work together. We're going to spend the next few moments together getting on the same page, understanding what the challenges are of that business we wish to be in, why we believe Intuiface is the key to overcoming those challenges, and then give you a brief summary of the partner programs we offer so you have an understanding of how we could actually collaborate and more effectively pursue that opportunity. To start, what do we mean by the business of interactivity? What does that mean? Well, the way we see it is the following. It's about building and deploying amazing interactive experiences into physical spaces. So there's the creation aspect, the building. Then there's also the deployment aspect, which among other things is remote deployment, does mean other things as well. By interactive, we don't just mean touch. We mean any kind of human-machine or machine-machine interaction. It could be touch, voice, gesture, sensor, video. I mean, there's lots of different ways for humans to interact with machines. And then in the back end, there are things like the Internet of Things and web services, where now we're talking about machine-to-machine interaction. In all these cases, we're talking about physical spaces. We're talking about the museum or the store or the office or the trade show. These are physical spaces. We're not talking about websites that you're looking at home or on your phone. People are physically going somewhere, and the experiences you're creating are enhancing their appreciation of the way they value that physical space. That's the business of interactivity. There are many challenges. There's a bunch of them if you want to enter this space or if you're already there that you're probably experiencing now. Let's start with the coding aspect, because let's be honest, most people assume, if they're not already there, that if you want to build interactive content, you have to write code. And that could mean maybe low-level C# coding or something of that nature, but for a lot of people, they're not that deep. They're using HTML5. Well, that's still coding, though. You still need people with the development expertise to take HTML5 and create interactive content. That takes a lot of resources and potentially a lot of time. The validation cycles are long. And this goes for any kind of code. It's not just if you're writing code for interactive projects. It could be writing code for anything. There's huge validation cycles where you're identifying requirements and speccing them out and writing the code and testing them and iterating and then sending something to the client. Is that what they wanted? No, it's not. We need to reassess, recode again. It goes on and on. It's very long validation cycles, which of course adds significant risk to budget and time. Right? I mean, it's very hard to budget development efforts without trade-offs. And if you really want to go whole hog and deliver everything the client wants, giving them every last second to make changes, it's very likely you're going over time and budget if you're writing custom code. It's just a fact of life. To complicate matters, since it's super important for interactive content to be personalized as much as possible to make it relevant in real time, it will be important that you establish connections to external data sources so that you don't just know it's a human being at the screen, but if they've identified themselves in some way, you know their name, you know maybe their purchase history or their former preferences or what they did the last time or who knows what. But you want to be able to facilitate that to make the engagement more meaningful and sticky. Well, somebody's got to code that, right? That's additional development concern. Then there's the whole deployment piece. So, we're past creating the project. Now it's getting it out there. Do you have the expertise there? I don't know. But if you do, you understand that it can be a significant challenge to make sure that all the devices are properly spec'd and sufficiently online and accessible and have the right software on them. And if there are changes, you need to redeploy those changes to the right machines and so on and so on. It's a challenge. Then there's the analytics piece. Now, this is funny because for a lot of you, this is not a challenge. You're not doing it at all, right? But in fact, would you run a business without measuring stuff and making sure that you're somehow approaching and fulfilling the goals of your business? No, of course not. Of course you're going to measure stuff. So why wouldn't you be measuring aspects of your interactive deployment? Of course you should, if for no other reason, just to make sure you did a nice job, let alone learning from what users are doing, either from a marketing perspective or a retail perspective or just a placement perspective, which kiosk gets the most traffic. So there's a huge amount that could be learned from an analytics initiative if you know what you're doing, right? Big challenge. And then finally, if you've decided, you know what, you've convinced me coding is a bad idea, I'm going to use some templated approach to creating the content. You could. That will definitely reduce the validation time. That will definitely reduce, at least potentially, the budget. The problem is you're using a template, which means you're looking like everybody else who used the same template. Or, oops, now you're introducing budget and time overhead because you need to pay for customization of those templates, an activity you have no control over. So there's lots of challenges here if you want to enter or expand your presence in the interactive content delivery business. Now, wouldn't it be nice if there was a software platform that could help you overcome those challenges? Now, it feels like I'm setting you up for a particular ending, and you're right. But let's talk about what the ideal software platform would be. First of all, it would have a Photoshop-like authoring approach, a familiar approach to expressing yourself visually. So, a tool that is good for designers, a tool that is good for people with a notion of aesthetics and usability and are very good at realizing the vision of their clients using pictures and in some cases audio as well. So you want them to have a tool that's familiar, that they can use to capture their ideas in a process that's very similar to what they've done in the past. Ideally, this platform would also simplify your ability to establish integrations with third-party data sources, right? In order to read from or write to these third-party data sources, these things in the cloud potentially, enabling you to personalize these experiences for your client's target audience. You're going to have to do it. You really are going to have to do it. Wouldn't it be great if there was a platform that could enable you to do it without writing code? On the deployment side, wouldn't it be great if you could have different runtimes and all over the world and different displays, different sizes, different operating systems in different countries, and you're sitting at your desk in your pajamas in front of a web browser managing that deployment, making sure that the right software is where it needs to be, that it's updated if necessary, the right experiences are running on the appropriate platforms, and you're monitoring that deployment to make sure everything is nice and healthy. Wouldn't that be nice? It would be great if a platform could do that. Wouldn't it also be nice that the platform you're working with would support offline use? This is more important than you may realize. We are in a connected world right now, and a lot of 3G, 4G, 5G connections are facilitating a lot of connections, even in non-wired environments. But the fact is that there are still environments that either are not amenable to internet connections or they can't, they're forbidden. Government installations and this sort of thing where it might be an air-gapped environment, they'll never be online. But more common, it could just be an environment where that's not possible. Maybe it's a business environment where firewalls prevent it, or you're at a trade show where you get, dial-up modem speeds for millions of dollars. You just can't count on having an internet connection. Wouldn't it be great if their platform could support both online use, no surprise, and offline use? That would be nice. And then finally, built into the same platform doing all these other things, a complete analytics capability that combines data collection with chart and dashboard creation so you can track and manage your key performance indicators. Wouldn't it be amazing if a platform could do all that? Would that help you more effectively enter or expand your footprint in the interactive content delivery business? Then to top it all off, wouldn't it be nice if that platform facilitated strong relationships between your business and the vendor of that platform? Programs that would provide you the support, the licenses, the exposure that you would need to effectively use the platform and grow your business, whether you're an agency focused on the creative or an integrator that addresses multiple phases of the project delivery lifecycle. Wouldn't that be nice? Well, guess what? That's Intuiface. Now, from a platform perspective, what do we mean by Intuiface? All right, starting on the left, there's the editor. We call that Composer. That's the Photoshop-like tool one would use to create the interactive experiences. So that's where you're authoring your content. It's your images, your videos, your documents. It's your designs, your storyboards, your layouts. There's no pre-built apps or templates. That's not how it works. It's a real tabula rasa. You control every single pixel of your design. Then there's a share and deploy console facilitating collaboration and deployment, where you can share work with colleagues. Maybe you're co-editing a project. Maybe you're sharing work with a client so they can preview your work so you can rapidly iterate the work you're doing and helping your clients make sure it meets their expectations. And then there's deployment, which is getting them on the devices in the field where they need to run. Okay. Intuiface runs on 6 different operating systems: Windows, iOS on the iPad, Android, Chrome, Samsung Tizen, and LG WebOS. 6 different operating systems. Composer runs on Windows. You build on Windows, you run in any of these 6 platforms supported by Player, and you can deploy to all of them. So Player is running on those 6 OSs. You can deploy to all of them, any number of devices, anywhere in the world, from the convenience of your desk and a web browser. That's how deployment works. And that's what Player is. It's the runtime running on those 6 OSs. Then, sort of monitoring everything, collecting data, and facilitating analytics is this analytics piece. You identify the data you want to collect. We don't take wild guesses. You specify which events you care about and the data you want to collect about those events. It's the job of Player to collect all of that data across all of the devices all over the world, collate it in a single place in the cloud. You can then go up into the cloud, grab that data, slice and dice it with our charts and dashboards feature. You never have to leave our product, and we've simplified the heck out of it so you don't have to be an expert about analytics. All of this falls underneath the Intuiface umbrella, a single platform designed explicitly for the needs of agencies and integrators who want to really outperform their competitors and outplease their clients with interactive content delivery. We have a set of partner videos and use cases I wanted to share with you to give you a sense of what's possible. Here's our first video. Pretty exciting, right? So that's a set of projects created by our customers. We didn't do any services for them. They did it themselves. Probably a combination in that video of partners, agencies, and integrators, as well as some end users. You'll notice there are no particular verticals. There are no particular target audiences. You can build anything you want. Pretty exciting, right? I'm going to give you some additional specific details about partners and what they're doing with our product, but I did think there was some value before we get there to talk about, broadly speaking, the cost advantage of using Intuiface. So if you look in the graphic at the left, in the purple bar, starting at the bottom, those are your costs for development and deployment, and it's a big bar. Then you have the content design cost. So that's the ideation, the content creation, right? That's the stuff you actually see. So you're writing code below, you're deploying below, then content design, that's the images, the videos, the documents, the layouts, the storyboards. And then you charge a price, right? And that price, hopefully it's more than your spend and you've got a profit there. Here's how we've seen. This is the feedback we're getting, but we believe this to be the case. Here's how we've seen the cost advantage of Intuiface to play out. So at the very bottom of the right bar, you can see Intuiface platform costs. Intuiface is just license fees, very predictable license fees, and it's minimal. So it's a little tiny chunk. Then you might have a little bit of development cost. Uh, Most of you won't have any, but it's possible you could. You might decide to do something that necessitates it. So it's going to be a much smaller piece, right? Then you have the content design costs, the polka dotty thing. You're still doing content design. In fact, it could be the same amount initially. But see the little pluses there? What we're saying is you've saved so much money on the custom dev and deployment cost that you have lots of additional resources to invest towards better design, better features, that sort of thing. You have ramped up your ability to focus on what the client actually sees, right? They never see development and deployment, just it happens in the background, but they do see the images on screen. They do see the layouts and the storyboards. Our costs are so low that you have significantly more ability to invest resources in what the client sees in terms of the design, the storyboards, etc. And it still comes in below your costs with the traditional project. And even better, because you have invested more in design and in features, etc., you have exceeded the expectations of your clients, right? You didn't meet them on the left, you have exceeded them on the right because you've been able to do more on the design side and the content delivery side. You've been able to exceed it there. You've exceeded their expectations, which means even if you charge less than you would have traditionally, you're going to make a big profit, and you can charge even more if you want and make an even bigger profit. But the perceived value is significantly more, right? And that's the idea. The idea is that not only do you increase your profit, you've increased the perceived value, whether or not you move what you charge, and we're claiming you can actually charge less. So we're saying 60% reduction in delivery time. It's faster. 80% reduction in cost. It's a heck of a lot cheaper, enabling you to charge less, make more of a profit, and exceed expectations. I mean, if that were true, you couldn't say no. And what we're saying is that's what happened. So let's talk about some examples. I'll start with a digital agency located in Seattle. They wanted to pursue interactive content delivery. They just assumed that they would have to acquire, because they didn't have them, they would have to acquire one or more developers, lengthen their project delivery timelines because of the overhead for testing and all the sort of stuff that goes with coding. It just seemed like too high of a barrier until they found us. And they realized they didn't have to bring in developers or outsource custom development. They could just use Intuiface to do everything they were doing before. And as a result of that, they now support over 40 interactive displays with customers like Microsoft and have freelanced several other projects as well, not counted in the 40. All of this without having to add to their staff. All this without having to bring in new skills. There was their existing skills plus Intuiface enabled them to achieve the results here, which is 50% increase in delivery of projects with vastly simplified maintenance, robust third-party integrations, and an analytics-based KPI service. All of this because of Intuiface. No additional skills, no new hires, all of this because of Intuiface. Let's listen to another partner.
I'm Janelle Paisley. I'm from Design Revolution. We're a full-service integrated marketing firm from Pennsylvania. A wide variety of projects, actually. We've been working with Intuiface 2-3 years, maybe, I would say. And right now we're using it on the B2B end, that a lot of our clients are using the Intuiface platform to sell to their clients. We're a design firm. We want it to look good and it needs to function nicely. So first of all, the ease of use, from being able to make our design assets work and flow nicely over to the web programming end of things. And really one of the big selling points for us is the deployment and management. We're constantly updating our experiences. They could be running 10 at one time on one device. So we need to be able to update and deploy quickly. And Intuiface offers that, I think, better than anyone else. Honestly, I think sky's the limit. It's a huge variety. We're using it in primarily the manufacturing realm now, but we really see how that could work in a museum setting, on the kiosks. We're utilizing it at trade shows. So I don't really think it's necessarily one market. It could be used everywhere.
Thanks, Janelle. Here's another story about a full-service integrator in the Netherlands. We'll actually hear from them in a moment. They are a large, successful integrator with lots of projects on the dock and lots of talented people in the business. But it was a very profit-constrained business. It was highly competitive. And you know how it is in a services business. It can be there's only so low you can go, right? And so it was very difficult to maintain profit margins in such a competitive environment. They discovered Intuiface. They were using Scala to deliver traditional non-interactive signage, found us and realized they could use us to, as we discuss, meet and exceed client expectations, but do it much more quickly and cheaply than the competition. So they used us in parallel with Scala and pursued and won lots of large projects they may not have won in the past, purely based on price. They're winning them now. A couple examples are TUI Travel, the global travel agency, and Basic Fit, a set of gyms. We're talking 1,000 plus screens incorporating interactivity thanks to Intuiface. And it's their belief that without Intuiface, it would have been much more challenging to win these opportunities because of cost. They have experienced 80% reduction in cost, 60% reduction in delivery time that has enabled them to invest more of their effort in additional services like usage analytics. It's exactly what we talked about. Here's another video.
My name is Colin. I work for First Impression within the Netherlands. We do all kinds of audiovisual solutions, but I'm mostly responsible for the touch applications we make, interactive applications, together with a team. But I'm the main guy. One of the first ones we actually worked on, also one of the biggest that we're still working on and updating every day, is for a travel agency within the Netherlands, and we've expanded that to Belgium and France as well. So we have lots of stores, hundreds of stores working with that, and the main goal of that is to interact with the customer there, especially for inspiration, smart in the way that we interact with the user, like we entertain them when they're waiting for personnel to be ready, or they're just looking for inspiration, like, oh, where can I go on holiday, stuff like that. And we continuously try to evolve that, working with the customer to change that. And that has been one of the biggest projects we've been doing. Because it was easy to use. I was still pretty new, and I'm not a programmer myself. Interest in, but what you see is what you get. Editor is what I needed. And we worked with other platforms before, but it wasn't as customizable enough because I'm a designer. So I know it's like, okay, I see lots of limitations. This doesn't work. That I cannot change. So I was looking for software, and we needed it quick. It's like, okay, I need something that works and works quick, and I know how to use it, and it needs to be able to customize it. So we found Intuiface. Okay, this needs to be it. Designers. I think designers can do a great deal of that because they often don't have the programming knowledge, but at least some interest in and wanting to make their designs interactive instead of sending it to a programmer. They can do it themselves, and it works really great. Yeah.
Thank you, Colin. So you've heard from some of our partners. You've learned that you don't just have to trust me. That what I've been telling you is being experienced in the field now by agencies and integrators. We want you to be part of our ecosystem. We would love for you to participate with us in creating an ecosystem where you deliver the services, we provide the platform, and together we exceed the needs and expectations of your clients. Our goal, in fact, is not even just to have this relationship with you, but maybe even our ambition to have partners working with each other. But we'll cross the bridge when we get there. At the very least, collectively, let's reinvent digital engagement for physical spaces. Let's not just meet it. Let's reinvent it. Let's come up with approaches and solutions that will blow people's minds, and you're doing with a platform that makes all that possible. So, what do we mean by partnership? There are two programs. The VAR program are for integrators providing multiple services along the project lifecycle, which obviously includes the ability to resell licenses. There are multiple levels of partnerships. Depending on your level of participation, that determines the annual license bundles you're given for free. You're provided dedicated support and consulting assistance, as well as lots of co-marketing activities and other benefits of your participation. If you're an agency focused purely on content creation, other aspects of the life cycle, that's the responsibility of your client. Your idea is to come up with a brilliant idea and design it. That's the Creative Experts program. It too has four levels of partnership. Level of partnership determines, in this case, which composer licenses, how many licenses you can acquire at a discount. We provide you a dedicated company page and visibility on our website to drive traffic to you, as well as doing lots of other things around social media and that sort of thing. So, integrators would be typically best suited for the VAR program. Agencies focused on the creative, you're most suited for the Creative Experts program. But you know what? You don't have to guess. If you're interested in getting started, you want to talk to us about these programs, you want to explore Intuiface further, just email us at partnerprogram@intuiface.com. We'll have someone get in touch with you, discuss what we think is the right program, and we'll move it forward. Thank you very much for your time and attention, everybody. Hope to hear from you soon. Bye.